Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports takes from around the country. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community, and I think we're doing something really, really special here. I read every single comment, so if you think what I'm saying is ridiculous, please let me know. If you think what I'm saying is awesome, also let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's have some fun. Now, without further ado, we're with first things first, talking about Ravens versus the Dolphins and kind of unpacking that and if the Ravens are Super Bowl favorites. I think the Ravens are absolutely Super Bowl favorites. They clearly are the best team in the NFL right now, beating legit teams, beating them convincingly, and making you believe that Lamar Jackson truly can carry this team all the way to the end goal of hoisting up that Super Bowl trophy, the Lombardi trophy. So I really think that this is absolutely the Ravens' year to lose. I don't think that the win versus the Dolphins really showed us anything, because I think the Dolphins proved who they were. You know, I've said this before, and a lot of Dolphins fans were ripping me apart. I said, I'm going to do a little victory lap right now. The Dolphins clearly have not beaten a team worth beating yet. All their wins came away from teams that were not good, who are not in the playoffs, or who don't even have a winning record, except for the Cowboys. And I repeatedly said that the Cowboys lost that game more than the Dolphins won that game. And now the Dolphins finally face a legit team and they lose. They got rocked. And then people in the comment section made excuses and said to me that the refs cheated. Oh my God. The refs cheated. The score was what? 56-19, and yet the refs cheated. I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, like, I genuinely don't even have much to say to that, because if you're going to talk about the refs cheating, oh brother.
Played a brand of football that people don't want to play, and the Dolphins agreed. 56-19. Lamar throws for 321, 5 touchdowns through the air, locks up the AFC and his second MVP probably. Here he is after the game.
We've been an underdog all season, even off season. You know, we like to keep it that way and just keep that on our mindset. We don't fall into the narratives of things changing. You know, just last week we were about to get tore up, you know, however they said it. But our team, you know, we take that to heart, and we go out there and play football.
How thick his neck is.
And that's what we know. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, we can't go out there thinking, since we're the favorites, team's just going to buy down and just play how we want them to play. We got to go take it. And that.
People get so mad that he was asked to be like a wide receiver or like a running back or anything like that, because just look at how he's built. He's so like solid that the whole thing is like, well, if you can't be a quarterback, well then like you're so athletic and a physical freak that we're pretty sure you could play in any other position.
That's what we do.
Okay, Super Bowl odds. Oddly, still, the Niners have the #1 spot.
The
then
Cowboys. Yeah,
Kansas
okay.
City, the Bills and the Eagles. Quick recap. Lamar Brew was talking about how he prefers to be the underdog, doesn't want to let the success go to his head or anything. How are you feeling? You feel that way too?
I'm feeling great, Wiles. I'm feeling so. You know, the only thing that would cap this off and make me feel better.
What's that?
It was a sandwich, some chips,
What?
and a soda pop.
What? Don't say soda pop.
Oh, here we go. Look, this is actually appropriate.
Why?
Because this is what the Baltimore Ravens did to the Miami Dolphins.
They were in their own home.
Yes, they were. And they were some rude hosts, all right? They were so rude that not only did they not feed the Dolphins,
No, they
made the Dolphins feed them. Go make me a sandwich. Go get me some go down the street and get me a soda pop. That's what they said, all right? And they had their way with the Miami Dolphins.
Thank you for not biting into it.
Yes, I want to. I want to. It looks delicious. But, all right, look, to get to your question, this is what I'd say, Nick. It's simple. Who should be, well, you didn't even ask your question.
because
Should the Ravens be the #1, the Super Bowl favorites?
Yes.
This is what I would say, Nick. Ask the 49ers.
I agree with this take.
Ask the Dolphins. Ask ask the Jaguars and ask the Lions, because those are 4 division leaders who the Ravens beat by an average of 25 points.
That's pretty good.
I mean, come on.
It's good stat.
That's crazy.
Now, look, I don't think they're a lock. You know, it's not like, oh, it's over. We can give them the Super Bowl trophy now. But for them not to be number 1, how in the world could they not be the favorites? They got the best record. They got the best defense. They got the best running offense. They got the soon-to-be MVP. And they crushed the team that's number 1, the Niners.
I agree with this.
Is it finally happening?
What?
Do you, Chris Broussard, finally have a new Super Bowl pick? What? No. What do you mean no?
We'll see.
I mean, it
A
seems
little
like you're
bit later. A little bit later.
I'll
get to that a little bit later.
Okay, all right, because the Eagles, it should be noted for Brew with all the histrionics and the gorgeous robe and sunglasses.
See, this is textbook debate strategy. He's completely trying to, take off the attention and start talking about the Eagles right now, which is not the discussion whatsoever. Is Baltimore, the question is, does Baltimore deserve to be Super Bowl favorites? The answer is an emphatic yes, especially over San Francisco, who they walloped. And I guess the only logic between San Francisco still leading is that technically San Francisco has an easier path to the Super Bowl. Technically, Baltimore has to play harder, tougher teams that are playing better than the NFC, right? The AFC is I don't know, honestly, actually. I take that back. I'm taking that back in real time. I think outside of really the 49ers and Baltimore, all the teams below them are just kind of nonsense. I mean, it's just a straight up roll of the dice. I think the Eagles could beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys could beat the Eagles. I think the Bills could beat the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs could beat the Bills. I mean, I think it's just a complete roll of the dice, honestly. I think that's what actually makes this season pretty exciting, is that it feels like kind of anyone can win. And so I actually think this is actually absurd that the 49ers still think that, or that the odds makers still think that the 49ers have the best chance of winning the Super Bowl. That doesn't actually make sense.
Gorgeous.
And once again, forcing our staff to go out and buy him food because it doesn't even make sense with the show.
Basically getting his
because
lunch
the
for
Ravens
free,
were not on the road. The bit is about going into someone else's house
or making them come to your house.
Got it.
That's even worse.
Okay, that's even worse.
Come to my house. You're not going to eat, but I'm going to eat.
Okay,
and you're going to speak.
So I will be very straightforward here. They should be right now the massive favorites. That for all the reasons Bruce said, they have checked all the boxes. They are, aside from Mark Andrews, healthy right now, which has been a huge problem for them in years past. They beat people up. People don't leave games against them healthy. That obviously feel terribly for Bradley Chubb. That was just bad luck. But they play a style of defense like Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith have talked about that imposes their will on people. And Lamar is playing sensationally. And he played so well what has been kind of the MVP of sports talk topics the last 2 months. Who is the NFL's MVP? We now go into the final week of the season, and it's not an interesting topic at all because Lamar has ended that discussion, which is why I find this to be, from a storyline perspective, the best possible outcome for the NFL. If the Ravens get to the Super Bowl, then in the last 3 years, Mahomes has been to one, Lamar has been to one, Burrow's been to one. And the media likes to pretend Josh has been to a half dozen. So it's like you have 4 apex predators in one conference. They all will have won the conference a certain time. They all would have different claims of when they didn't get there. Burrow would be like, well, I got hurt. Lamar say, I got hurt. For Mahomes this year, it would be, well, the team, as you guys are saying, had nobody could catch. That's what you guys are saying. What? And he's also the only one because Burrow didn't win the Super Bowl. Mahomes did. We'll see. And Brew, I know, doesn't think the Ravens are because he's an Eagles guy, that at least they got to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
On the other hand, if he doesn't get, I'm not talking about win the Super Bowl. If after all of this, the Ravens fall flat in their first playoff game, it is also, from a storyline perspective, a wildly fascinating one. Because Lamar, can we show the 2-time MVPs? Lamar's about to join this list. I think we all agree. Before they won their second MVP, all of them had been to a conference championship, and 4 of them had been to multiple conference championships. All of them had multiple playoff wins, and
Okay, Mahomes has an elite offensive head coach with an elite team behind him. Rodgers at the time had elite weapons. Not necessarily elite coach, but had, amazing weapons. Brady, obviously the GOAT, so comparing him to anyone is just kind of absurd, but also obviously an elite head coach, had elite weapons and made moves. Peyton, elite, obviously. Kurt Warner, obviously elite with elite weapons. Greatest show on turf. Favre, obviously, I'm not going to speak too much on him, but then you have Young and Montana. So, this whole list is kind of absurd, within the Super Bowl era and having these things. If anything, it just shows you what Lamar Jackson has been able to do with significantly less. Mahomes has had so much more than Lamar Jackson, and it's not even close, okay? Patrick Mahomes has had the same offensive mind, aka Andy Reid, his entire career. Lamar Jackson has not had that. Okay? He keeps trying to use this as a way to try to act like, look how amazing Mahomes is relative to Lamar Jackson. And when push comes to shove, I would rather have Patrick Mahomes over Lamar Jackson. But to not give Lamar Jackson his flowers is just absurd. And to use kind of these types of stats as an indicator why is just ridiculous. Most people can't even name any of the weapons on the Baltimore Ravens team for years. Since Lamar Jackson has been playing, the average fan cannot name any offensive weapon that Lamar Jackson has had. Compare that to Tom Brady, who's had the household name of, oh my God, Gronk, Edelman. He's had actual household names. And obviously Bill Belichick, Randy Moss, people that my mom even knows, okay? Same thing with Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, people who are going to go down in books as being Hall of Famers, not only Hall of Famers, but potentially the greatest ever. I mean, people believe that Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end of all time. Tyreek Hill has the potential to be one of the best wide receivers of all time. Tom Brady played with who was considered to be the greatest head coach of all time. Please tell me who Lamar Jackson plays with, who's considered to be the greatest of all time, especially in their prime, who's also healthy. I'll wait. Oh, I waited long enough because you can't name anyone.
4 of them had 8 or more playoff wins, or 5 or more playoff wins, pardon me. Lamar's sitting there right now with 1. So it's a award that is unprecedented for as, quote, unproven of a playoff performer to get for a second time. And if they play poorly in the postseason, or if he loses his first playoff game as the 1 seed for the second time, and I said it Friday and I don't feel good about it, but it is just true, it will be a very interesting, and if you don't like the James Harden comp, go with the Joel Embiid comp, whatever it is,
that's a little more
of where it is a guy is up here in the
No,
regular
it's not.
season, and then
Joel Embiid's body fails him. Joel Embiid, unfortunately, has a body that just breaks down and it's not going to be long, and it sucks. As someone who's had a lot of physical injuries, it's not a lack of will, it's not a lack of mental fortitude or anything like that. Joel Embiid's body just can't handle the length of the season, and it sucks, and it's just a genetic thing because he puts in the work, he works out, he conditions, he does everything he can. And then you have someone like a LeBron James who can just play on forever because yes, he puts in the work, but he also has the genetic gifts to allow his body. People heal faster. You get 2 people, that's why 2 athletes can get an injury and get the same exact surgery, do the exact same recovery. One comes back in 8 weeks and the other one never comes back because they just never heal properly. That is a fact. That is what happens in sports. That is what happens in just physical injuries all the time. Anyone who's actually been injured multiple times and has worked with enough actual legit elite orthopedic surgeons and elite physical therapists will tell you the same thing. The way your body heals is a big roll of the dice. So throwing someone like a Joel Embiid, it makes no sense. James Harden actually just fails in the playoffs. His game isn't good in the playoffs because the whistles tighten. I don't even want to talk about James Harden right now. I don't even like James Harden, but it's just like making that comparison doesn't make any sense. Lamar Jackson does not have the weapons and does not have the team. Same. And Joel Embiid also didn't have any of them. You gave Joel Embiid James Harden. James Harden's not good in the playoffs. We just said that. You know, so tell me when James Harden gets to play with Hall of Famers like Anthony Davis. Or let me know when he gets to play with Dwayne Wade. Let me know when he plays with Chris Bosh. Let me know when he plays with Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. I mean, like, what are we talking about? Like, it's just absurd. Stupid.
No matter how well he plays in the regular season, you have a massive but question about him for the postseason.
Can we put that up again? I know that's a little bit tricky. I understand the concept. Are you penalizing Lamar though because he's getting his second MVP so literally young in his life? What's Lamar, 26 now?
You know, he'll be the youngest ever second MVP.
Well, Brady didn't get two MVPs
Favre was
for a
crazy.
long
Hold on.
time.
Yeah, Brady didn't. Favre was incredibly young. Steve Young wasn't that young, but he was relatively early into his NFL career. Mahomes was incredibly young. Kurt Warner was by year 4. You know what? Kurt Warner won his second MVP his third year as a starter.
Sneaky
So
old.
But you understand what I mean? No, but what people would be holding against Lamar, and Brew, I'm curious where you fall on it, because this could be the year of Lamar. The whole league passes on him and looks like fools. He gets the contract not quite he wanted, but a damn good contract done on his own. Wins league MVP, gets the 1 seed, gets to the Super Bowl. It could be the year, and dispatches all these demons. But the playoff resume now is the only reason you would pick against the Ravens. Is that graphic? That is the thing, because they've beaten everyone, Brew.
I didn't agree. I agreed with you to some degree on Friday. I thought the Harden one was off because I think Harden's melted down, like, emotionally in these games. I think Lamar's just had bad
Played
games.
poorly.
Or, you know, early in his career, he couldn't throw the ball as well. Teams figured him out and all that stuff. But the Embiid one makes a little more sense. But now, look.
No, it doesn't. Embiid's body fails him in the playoffs. He doesn't have it. He's always been injured. He's gotten hit in the face and knocked his literal eye out of his socket. He's had concussions, his knee. He tears his meniscus. Like, every time in the playoffs so far, he's literally had a true, concrete, legitimate, indisputable physical injury. Okay, he literally tears his meniscus. He literally cracks his bone in his eye socket, okay, and gets a concussion. Like, those are big deals. Like, what are we talking about here? Okay, like, his body just can't handle the longevity of a season. That's not what's happening to Lamar Jackson. Although to some degree before it was, because Lamar Jackson was getting banged up before the playoffs, and so, like, maybe that's the one comparison, but it's not a lack of skill or a lack of heart, or that, you know, he just isn't good enough in the playoffs or chokes or any of that. And that's what I don't like about this narrative. They're pretty much trying to say that Lamar Jackson just, like, isn't good enough in the playoffs. And again, he's never actually had the team, okay? He's never actually had the team. So let me know your thoughts for this one in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear what you have to say. Do you think Lamar Jackson, do you think it's everything I'm saying about Lamar is just an excuse? Do you think it's a justifiable reason? Do you think Lamar Jackson will actually be able to step up in the playoffs this season and get his team to the Super Bowl and beat the whoever and win the Super Bowl? Would love to hear what you have to say on this one. Please, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps with the algorithm and really helps with visibility. And please do not forget to subscribe. We are building an amazing community here, and I would be so grateful for your subscribe. I mean, we are building something special here, and it's going so well, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I see this channel just as much as yours as it is mine, and as a true community. Thank you so much, and